Pulsex, I believe, is going to dominate Pulsechain. And I'm going to explain my thought process in this video using some of the data in previous videos to support it. So, with that being said, if this is your first time here, what's good? My name is Sam, and for those of you who are returning, it's good to freaking see you. Now, if anybody wants to support the channel, you can check out some links down below. Or if you like fitness-related stuff, you can check out Instagram or the other YouTube channel. Now, Pulsex, I paid attention to because when I look at social indicators, right, whether it's hashtag usage or search volume on Google or YouTube, the two largest search engines in the planet, right, there's a lot of interest. And you get to get a gauge, understand a gauge of what is more interesting to people, or maybe views on YouTube, right? And I put all this stuff together, as well as what website is utilized more in traffic, like Pulsex or Pulsechain. And pretty much across the board, there's some anomalies in it. You can go check out those videos. I highly recommend that. Pulsex is winning. And I didn't understand that. I was like, Pulsechain, you would think Pulsex built on Pulsechain wouldn't be as big. And then I literally just got out of the shower because I had an idea. And I wanted to talk about that. First of all, in one sense, Pulsex is a bet on crypto, in that Pulsex is creating two different pieces in one. And there may be other things out there that already do this. I'm sure there is. But I don't know if they're layered on top of something like Pulsechain. And I've got an example here for you. So I wrote it down. Think of Apple, right? Apple and the App Store. Apple created the App Store, and you're like, cool, that's kind of like Pulsechain, right? It's creating the opportunity to put stuff on top of it, right? So how could Pulsex be bigger than that? And as I was thinking about that, I think, and I'd love to hear your thoughts down below, there's maybe a more appropriate example that could explain what is going on. And this is my thought process, especially given the data in the previous videos that show people are more interested in Pulsex. So the kind of consensus, right? Consensus from a social standpoint, because we don't have a blockchain consensus formula at this point, right? We're trying to gather the data to try to understand this. And this could be why the market is understanding it this way. And guarantee nobody else is talking about this. Verizon provides a utility in the form of internet that things like Google can be built on. So Google is kind of, it's separate, right? But it's built on, and you need the internet to access it. Kind of like PLS. You're going to need PLS to trade between the different tokens on there, right? The only one I can think of right now is liquid loans, but I'm sure that there's lots of other protocols that are going to be, or plan to be on top of Pulsechain eventually, right? Similar to how there's a lot of shit that's built on top of Ethereum, right? So I believe that the Apple, right, there's no competition in that realm, right? Where with Verizon, that's one of many internet providers, right? And there's many different ways to build things online, right? There's many different blockchains. You can look at them, right? You can look at, people can build off of like Bitcoin, people can build off of Ethereum, people can build off of, I think, Cardano or Solana. Like, don't hold me to all those things, but you can just look. I would assume, I'm relatively new to this, that you can build on top of those because it's how it all most of the time seems to work, right? Pulsex is a copy of Uniswap with some changes to it. Now, when we look at Pulsex, why does it look like it's more like Apple, right? Where the Pulsechain, being Verizon, Verizon's way less valuable than what is built on the internet because they're providing the internet. But Pulsex appears more like Apple, which is the piece that is way more valuable than the apps inside of it. And I think this holds up for two potential reasons here. And I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Or you can jump over to Twitter and say what's good over there. Pulsex is going to be a DEX in a way, right? For PLS. But it's also going to be a bridge. So we have two different things here. We have a bridge, which is providing an access point from another copy, right? Ethereum. So it's going to be providing the bridge. Well, what happens on bridges? People go back and forth on them. Think about that for a second. So people are going one direction and the other direction, back and forth on there. And if that's the case, then one could also avoid, if I'm understanding this correctly, Ethereum mainnet. So if somebody has, say, Ethereum, right, they could trade into PLS and then take their PLS and trade into a different ERC20 because you don't have to pay the mainnet fee there, from my understanding. So you could have a big increase in the utility there, from my understanding. Now, the other part of this comes from the AMM fixer ratio bot, right? Well, when you understand, and I'm still in that process of understanding the AMM, right? The automated maker bot is an algorithm. Uniswap has a simple formula for their algorithm. So I put this up here. It's X times Y equals K. Now, X and Y represent the number of tokens or coins between a pair. Because if you're going to put up, there's actually a third reason I'm actually going through this, but the third reason we'll talk about in just a second. Let me put a note down here so I don't forget. When you look at this, we have, say, some cheap coin, right? And there's 10,000 of that. And then the ratio with that is 10 of the other coin, right? So say Ethereum to, something that's way cheaper than that, right? So it's magnitude of difference between these two, or several magnitudes, right? Well, you take 10,000 times 10 equals 100. So how they fix the price is not the same as the legacy finance world, where it's based on a different type of algorithm. Well, it's going to be more based on what people are willing to pay there, where here it is different. So here, it's still what you're willing to pay to actually do the trade, right? But it's not based upon the other party is willing to sell at. In the sense that if you go through and you bought one here, right? So there's going to be 9 left over here. How do you come out to be what is going to be over here? Because when you look at this formula, we didn't mention what K is. K is a constant. That's just going to stay there. So if K is 100 and you change Y, or you're changing this number here, then it's just a little algebra to get the new value for this. What Richard Hart mentions in this on Twitter was that all of the, here it is, the AMM fixer ratio bot, it's going to harvest around 99. I'm not sure why I was worded this way. Maybe they were just typing quickly. It harvests over around 99.9%. It might just be a coincidence. I don't know if somebody's like detailed and trying to say something there, or if it was just like trying to get the thought out and didn't go through and review it or something to make it more clear or something. Of the coins, the liquidity from Uniswap and SushiSwap. So let's go back over here for a second. So they're going to go through and have this AMM bot go buy liquidity in other markets. What does that do? Well, in this case here, let's pull up a calculator and see if we can do the math here. So if we have 10,000 times 10 equals 100, now we got rid of one of the smaller sides, so now we have 9. So to fix this, we're going to take 100,000 divided by 9, right? I think it might be the other way. So 1,100, I think it's the other way. 100,000, and it comes out to be, I did the math earlier, it comes out to be like 111,000, I think it is, or something. Yeah, no, that was right, 11,000 something, that was correct. We have 100,000 divided by 9. Yeah, it's 11,000. Okay, perfect. That's the new number right here. Right? We have 11,111. What does that mean? Well, that means that this AMM bot makes it extremely costly to large orders. Or, in another way, if the AMM bot is going over and stealing all that liquidity, that means that these other exchanges, it's going to be way more costly to do this trade. Because think about it, think about that in reverse. If you did 9, if you bought 9 instead of 10, so then this number here, instead of being 9, this is 1. Right? This is 1 here. Goes from 10 to this, and you took away 9, you do the same math, and now this is 100K, right? 100K times 1 equals 100K. So this gets very expensive. So we've got those two pieces that are both pointing towards Pulsex completely dominating. This doesn't even get into the automated burning of PLSX, so it's going to be deflationary in terms of the supply of it. But also, when you look at providing liquidity, from my understanding, on most exchanges, you need to provide a pair. So if you're going to do this example, you don't just put up some quantity of X, you also put up a quantity of Y. Okay? So that's just how it's done. I'm not sure why it's done. Maybe there was originally a reason why it was done this way, but if you're going to put up 10,000 X, or 10,000 of X, right, whatever that is, then you need to put up the other side of that as well. Now, what happens on Pulsechain? Everybody gets a free copy of their ERC20s as PRC20s, right? So people are going to be having ERC20. They get their free copy of a PRC20. Think about that for a second. And then they stake it to a liquidity pool. So think about this example right here. Let's get rid of some of this garbage, right? So in this example here, if somebody's putting up 10,000 of something, right, and then 10 of this other thing, if they go through and they put 10,000 and it's $1 each, then this over here is $10,000 worth, right? So then this over here, whatever this is going to be, is going to equal $100,000 worth to create this pool or this pair for liquidity. But what if you don't have to put up the other side? It's going to get very interesting. How does that play out? I don't know. But think about it from a liquidity provider's standpoint. Somebody who has liquidity on Uniswap, we'll say, right? Because that's the largest DEX out there in terms of volume. Think of somebody who's providing liquidity on there, right? Put yourself in their shoes. And if I was like, hey, bro, what if you took your $20 million of pairs that you have put up on Uniswap and, or 20 million tokens you've put up on Uniswap, and you put them up on my DEX, and I'll give you 40 million tokens. Think about that for a second. Somebody, I was on a conversation the other day, and somebody had mentioned, I think it was J Future or Jim Rat Crypto, and they had mentioned that just casually through the conversation that liquidity providers tend to have larger bags. So put yourself in place of somebody who has a larger bag. Are you going to want to go where you can double your bag? Right? Just an idea. And this is just one piece of these other pieces. Right? Then we can go into the fourth piece of them burning PLSX. I think this Pulsex is going to fucking destroy Pulsechain. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are down below in the comments. If you found this interesting, take a second, share it with somebody else. I'm trying to grow the channel. That's what I kind of do online. So any help would be appreciated. And if you want to get into the conversation, hit me up on Twitter. Say what's good. There's going to be a link down below. Or if you want to support other ways, there's links down below. I also have a channel on fitness-related stuff. In the fitness-related stuff, it's similar to the DeFi type of world, but on the fringe, right? Because you and I, we're on the fringe of finance, right? We're on the fringe of crypto. Most people have no idea what we're talking about. If you mention DEX to somebody, or if you mention crypto, they literally have no fucking idea what you're talking about. Now think of that, right? Because you had that experience. Go talk to, 7 of your friends who you knew 10 years ago. They're gonna have no fucking idea. Or talk to 100 of them. You'll have like 1 or 2 that know. There's a very tiny percentage of people that are in crypto. The point is, that is where I am at personally in the fitness space, on the fringe. So shit that you probably have no idea about in the fitness community, whether it comes to the chemistry of bodybuilding with drugs, whether it comes to peptides, or whether it comes to supplementation for stopping things, right? Different types of diabetes, changing your blood sugar, dropping body fat with a peptide. Like you can get tan, all sorts of stuff. So if you want to check that stuff out, you can check out the link down below. Appreciate you. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.